What's happening, everyone? GBall here, and I have a doozy for you. We're taking a look at a bunch of knives I would consider to be hidden gems, knives that I didn't think you could pick up on the primary market, but I have found otherwise, and I have a hell of a list for you. Now, if you've never dropped by the channel before, welcome to GBall Vision. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what your EDC loadout is for the day. The first knife up here is going to be the Bestech Shodan. It's a Todd knife and tool design. It used to be very popular. I found two different versions of it over on Blade HQ. They're going to retail for just under $250. This list does consist of knives that cost a little bit more, but I think every single one of them comes in under $300. This one is just under $250 at $246. You're looking at 3.9 inches of S35VN, nice low drop point, beautiful leaf-shaped blade. You have a fuller running into a cutout and a rear flipper for the deployment. Carbon fiber show side, and then titanium for the backspacer, the backside, and pocket clip. It's obviously going to be an exposed frame lock. Great access to that lock bar, and it is chamfered. You have that big old finger choil right up here, and plenty of edge there to get a lot of work done. This is a great size, very comfortable. I absolutely love this knife. It's one of my all-time favorite knives. I've had it in my collection for a long time. Here's one that I was really surprised to see in stock. This is the AM8 Knives Flicks 2. These are going to come in at $175. You're going to be looking at M390 on the blade steel. Love that blade shape. You have a cutout and front flipper for the deployment. You can access the cutout on both sides. Beautiful, beautiful detent. Miguron is the OEM over there at AM8. That's how you access these knives, is through the Miguron website. Titanium bolsters with some nice milling on both sides. Carbon fiber, it is copper infused carbon fiber, titanium backspacer, and a milled tie clip. You have great access to the lock bar there, and it is chamfered off. Like I said, the detent and the action is beautiful, nice and strong, and then a smooth, clean closing action. Front flipper could not be designed any better. Now, they originally ran the Flicks 2 in S90V, but as they put more and more versions out, they ultimately started doing them in M390 also. And the particular one that I'm talking about, the only one you can pick up, has a DLC finish M390 blade. You are looking at 3.5 inches of total blade, so pretty good size. I would consider this more of a present day gentleman's knife, but certainly capable of doing all things EDC. Here is one that I think continuously is getting looked over just because it's a little bit older of a design, and it's not really that old either. But this is the Concept Toth, and you can pick these up as low as $200 and they go up to like $250. I think this one here is going to come in at like $220, but they have micarta and titanium, carbon fiber and titanium, a bunch of different versions. We have the carbon fiber and titanium variant here. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. I love the custom pivot collars inside of the carbon fiber. You have a 3/4 length titanium backspacer and then a nice milled titanium clip. It's going to be a cutout for the deployment, and one of the few times that Concept has used 20 CV here over the last couple of years. Nice satin finish. The cutout works great on either side because this is a recessed liner lock. You're not going to have any issues whether you are lefty or righty. Nice strong detent. Closing action is beautiful, nice and controlled. Love that blade shape, very user friendly, and be pretty easy to sharpen up. 20 CV when it's done properly, great steel, and to be able to pick this knife up for around $200, pretty hard to beat. Now, you lucky dogs are actually going to get a 2-for-1 on this one, because while I was over on Blade HQ scouring their website, I found that TRM has several of their knives in stock ready to go on the Blade HQ website, and at least two of the knives are consisting of the Neutron 2 and the Atom, basically a 3-inch blade and then a 3.5-inch blade. So you can kind of pick your poison. You like something a little larger or something that's more of a mid-size. USA made, very small batch stuff. These ones are in 20 CV. This is actually one of the original first batch DLC 20 CV variants of the Atom that they ever did. Love this particular one. I will never let this knife go. It is going to be on washers, but it has beautiful smooth action, nice strong detent, and the Neutron 2 is going to be the same way. They're going to have quite the range in price, from like $250 up to $350 is a good ballpark, and that's very solid for a USA made knife. And a lot of times they're going to be coming in Magna Cut now, but they still use 20 CV, so you're going to get two really good steels. They do a ton of different handle materials like carbon fibers, titanium, micarta, all kinds of really good stuff. If you're interested in picking up or finding a TRM, definitely head over to Blade HQ. I'll have links to all these knives down in the description in the order that you see them. That way they are nice and easy to find. But TRMs can be extremely hard to get, especially off their website. And for there to be several different versions sitting in stock on the Blade HQ website is crazy to me. If you're enjoying this video, you like knives and gear, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. That way you can be notified anytime I release a new video. The next knife we are going to be scoping out is from Schrade out of their Alpha series. It is called the Raydock, and it is a big boy. USA made. They're going to come in at $220, so a pretty fair price for where it's made and the materials it's made up of. We're looking at almost 3.8 inches of S35VN. You have that modified Warncliffe style blade. I love the flat with the full length swedge rolling to the tip. I think it has a beautiful characteristic. You almost have a little harpoon action there, a little bit of jimping to lock in. Sharpening choil could be a little better, and I'm hoping Schrade in the USA line is hopefully going to take some bigger steps here in the coming years. And I don't think it's quite Schrade's fault. I think it's the people the conglomerate who bought Schrade is more interested in trying to make money than they are to put out varying knives, right? And, you know, hopefully that changes in the coming years, because I have seen a lot of potential with Schrade over the last couple of years. Folders, OTFs, and fixed blades. You know, they're kind of toying with good stuff, but they can do it, and I hope that they do. Carbon fiber for the handle material, and then we do have steel liners and then a milled steel clip. You will have about a 1/2 inch poking out of the pocket. Some people will love that and some people won't. You do have a lanyard hole there that is milled into the handles, so the lanyard fans will be happy. It is going to be right hand carry only. The crossbar lock is pretty damn good. I only have very minimal experience with Schrade's crossbar lock, but the couple of knives that I have experienced, it's very solid. Nice strong springs, smooth closing action, easy to get to the crossbar. It's not uncomfortable. The studs are done well and they're placed in the proper spot, so you can get a ton of leverage on this thing. The reverse flick is no problem. Love that blade shape, the size of this beast, and knowing it's USA made. There's a couple of small nitpicks I have on the knife, like I would have loved to have seen it be lefty, and then the sharpening choil. But really, that's the main two things, and not necessarily something that would hold me back from picking one of these up. And the funny thing is, it's not like I just stumbled onto all of these knives here. I had to do quite a bit of searching and looking and cross-referencing, because some knives are out of stock on the actual company's website, like the Kaiser Hawk here. but I was able to locate it on Blade HQ, but I remember them being sold out on Blade HQ at one point in time. So whether they got like a second batch of these in or something like that, this is a knife that you need to heavily take a look at if you like this style. These are going to come in at $210, but you are getting quite a bit for your money here in this case. To kick it off, we are looking at M390 for the blade steel, and then it's got a polished DLC finish on this bad boy. Cutout and rear flipper for the deployment. Love the blade shape on this guy. And instead of sporting a detent ball, it actually has a detent post, and it's a little bit different feel than a standard ball. It's a little stronger, and it has a little bit different acoustics. Even for a liner lock like this, you can hear the acoustics, or hopefully you can hear the difference in the acoustics. I would love to see this detent post on more knives in the future. This is the only one I'm aware of. It is a recessed titanium liner lock with titanium handles, titanium backspacer, and a really nice titanium clip. They even included a lanyard hole there for the lanyard fans. It is going to be right-hand carry only, and that was my only knock on this knife. Very minimal knock, I would say. I could do without the Kaiser on the front, but this knife right here is providing quite a bit of value at just over $200. You can kill a lot of birds with one stone on this knife. And funny enough, after I got done looking at the Shodan, I wondered, hey, is the Roxy 3 in stock? Can we get a Roxy 3 if we wanted to? Well, I found out there's one version still available, and I don't think there's very many of them left. It is actually this exact version that is still available. They're going to come in at $260. It's called the Wee Knife Company Roxy 3. It's another Todd Knife and Tool design. If you didn't know who Todd Knife and Tool was before this video, you'll have a pretty good idea on their design language. You can tell it is a Todd Knife and Tool just by the backside. They do a lot, and I really like it. Keep the backside. There's a lot going on with it, and it looks really cool. The entire handle is made up of titanium, pocket clip, backspacer. Everything looks and feels really good. Great access to the lock bar, and it does have a deep well chamfer. You have a fuller cutout and front flipper for the deployment, and in Wii fashion, this has beautiful action and really nice acoustics. We are going to be looking at S35VN here again for the steel. This is an excellent, excellent knife, ladies and gentlemen, especially for a utility EDC. I've carried this many times, put a lot of miles on this knife, and it is still going nice and strong. Absolutely love the Roxy 3. If you ask me, between the Shodan and Roxy 3, I would have a hard time not picking this guy right here. I probably would end up going with the Shodan just based on the size of the knife alone, but man, this one would make it tough, no question about it. There are a few Roxy 3s left, all murdered out. Here we have one coming in from Megaron, and this bad boy right here is called the Miro version 2. These are going to come in just under $180. Here again, a lot of value with this particular knife. You're looking at 3.2 inches of M390. It has a beautiful satin DLC. Cutout for the deployment, drop point, very versatile. It is a crossbar lock and very solid crossbar lock action. Nice strong springs and a very smooth closing action. They don't protrude out too far, just far enough that you can easily get to them, but they won't be in your way when you're trying to manipulate the knife. And then you have a full titanium handle, backspacer, and a really well done pocket clip. And then there's texturing on this bad boy, a very fine diamond texture on this handle. It looks stunning in person, and it feels really good in hand. At $180, if you like crossbar locks, this one is really hard to beat. It is going to be right hand carry only. Sorry for all my lefty brothers and sisters out there. Sometimes that's just the way the videos go. But for all my righties, you can rejoice because there's still lots of cool knives available to you. This one here I'm throwing on as like an asterisk because there's only one of them left, and it's over at Traditional Pocket Knives. And not only is there only one left, they actually have the price marked down from $350 to $280. We're talking $70 off the last knife. That is an awesome deal for this Jack Wolf right here. It's called the Tango. I believe it was his first collaboration knife, his first collaboration folder. And I will have the link down in the description over to Traditional Pocket Knives. And not only do they have this knife in sale, but that's a place to go to look for varying Jack Wolf knives that have released over the years, because one or two might get jumbled into the mix, and then over time they have a couple stored up. But you can go get some fixed blades, some various locking folders, and some different slip joints over there, all at Traditional Pocket Knives. And TPK Austin, great dude, great company. I love supporting them. But this particular knife here is going to have S90V for the blade steel. You have studs and a front flipper for the deployment. Beautiful action, exactly what you would expect from Jack Wolf. And if you're someone who was like, well, I would pick it up if it wasn't $350, if it was closer to $3 or something like that, well, here is your chance. Like I said, there's only one of this particular version left, and I think it's the last Tango period that they have. So hopefully, if you're one of the few people who would want something like this, it is still there when you go to look. But I love this knife. Completely stepping away from his traditional aesthetics and going with something a little bit more present day. You have a full titanium handle and then carbon fiber. It is a camo carbon, Miami camo carbon. Beautiful looking stuff. And then a milled tie clip that is incorporated just so eloquently. Very nice. Titanium backspacer. It's going to be a bolster lock, and very little of the actual lock is exposed. I really like that. Lefties and righties will be able to manipulate this very easy. You have great access to the lock bar. It is chamfered. Closing action is controlled. It's smooth. Very good stuff. Detent is excellent. Easily thumb or reverse flick it all day long. Big fan of the Tango, and I couldn't believe I actually found one of these in stock. I don't even know what made me think of it. Like I said, I had to randomly check a bunch of knives, and some of them were completely gone. You couldn't get them anymore, so I had to cut them off the list. But knives, I could find at least one of them in stock. I put it on this list. I hope that if you're a newer person, this helped you see some knives that are a little bit older, but still kick ass in 2026 and are still available. You'll have to let me know down in the comments what was your favorite knife from today's video. And if you could ask me to do any type of list video in the future, what would that be? I always look forward to hearing from you. I will have links to all these knives down in the description. Do me a solid and hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to be sure to see more dope knife and EDC content just like this, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That'll notify you anytime I release new content. Put up a couple of videos on your screen you haven't seen yet. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.